Hey, welcome back to the channel. For today's topic, I'm going to be talking about how I wasted over $7,000 within the last 3 years buying shoes. Now, I want to first start by kind of walking through my journey and how I've kind of got into this kind of space. So, if you've been sticking around on the channel, you might have known I've done some kind of audits of different things I've been spending money on, different things that I've been, spending money on in a wise way, whether it's my 401k, HSA, different investment vehicles. I got goals to tackle down my debt. I also have been doing some wasteful spending. I'm thinking of things like, spending over $1,700 last year on DoorDash. So in this season of my life, I'm really focused on just kind of auditing my finances. And one area that I really, um, hadn't paid much attention to, but, as I've been going through and just auditing my finances, I've kind of uncovered is that I've been really wasteful when it comes to spending money when it comes to shoes. Now, within the last 3 years, I bought over 26 pairs of shoes. They range from different Air Jordans to different designer shoes. And I've accumulated 26 pairs of shoes. I don't even wear most of the shoes, and I've really done some soul searching, and really kind of thought about like why did I spend this money on this stuff, and how do I feel about it now. My conclusion is I bought this stuff because I was insecure, right? Growing up, I didn't have, the most amount of money. As a kid, my family, we struggled. I wasn't able to buy like the nice shoes, the schools that I went to, the different school districts I was like in. Kids are mean, right? Kids bully kids, kids gas kids, they clown kids if you don't have the nicest shoes. And I was one of those kids, right? I couldn't afford, the best name brand shoes, and I'd only have a few pairs to go to carry me out through like the school year. So, growing up, I didn't realize that I was carrying this insecurity, right? And it wasn't until I started this job that I'm currently at that um, a question that a colleague asked kind of triggered and tugged on that insecurity. Now, when I first joined the company that I was at, I was getting to, know some of my coworkers. And one of my coworkers asked if I was into sneakers, right? Because they shared their sneakerhead, and I shared I wasn't, right? And you could see they were like, "Oh, okay, right." And there wasn't no shade, or they weren't like, um, they weren't trying to make me feel bad, but I don't know, something about that tugged on this feeling that I had, growing up, where I just didn't feel good that I didn't have the nicest shoes. And so at this job that I'm at, I currently make over $100,000 a year. I've had a long journey throughout my career of scaling up and getting promoted and increasing my salary at a rapid rate. I've been making $100,000 per year working for a major tech company here in the Bay Area since the age of 24. And so I don't have really a lot of unhealthy spending habits. I don't have a lot of things that or a lot of vices or things that I spend money on. But after this colleague asked this, I started getting interested in buying shoes, and what I noticed is I've started to buy the childhood shoes that I couldn't afford when I was a kid, right? All of the Air Jordans, all of the colorways, all of the things that, I saw the kids that were considered cool or considered their family had money growing up. I bought all of those shoes. And I think at the time, like I told myself, or I truly believed that I was buying this stuff because I liked it. Like I really believed that I bought this stuff because I was a fan of the way the shoes looked or the colorway or the silhouette. Um, and I've realized that that's not true, right? I really bought this stuff because I was insecure. Half the time I don't even wear these shoes. And, as I've been living with my wife and we've been together now for a few years living together, she even notices, hey, I don't wear half the shoes that I bought, right? I might wear like a quarter or a fraction of it. And I really have like a couple pairs of shoes that I actually like wear on a day-to-day basis. But I'm not this big like sneakerhead. I really don't care about shoes. Um, it's not something that has like any tangible value for me. It's not something that like I'm really a fan of. I just got some money, and an insecurity showed up. And so um I ended up, addressing that insecurity by buying stuff that I was telling myself that I believed I liked, which I really don't. And I think the lesson for me in this kind of like story, and in this, is that it's real easy when you're insecure to waste money um, on things to kind of cover up those insecurities, right? Like it's real easy to you know, try to heal some of these emotional wounds you might have had like as a kid by dressing it up with spending money and trying to make up for kind of those times that you didn't have stuff. And then the reality is that's not you. That's not stuff that you really want. That's not stuff that you really care about. I think of all the people that are wasting money on luxury brands and different designer things. And I've definitely had a couple phases like that as I started to make a little bit more money at the different jobs that I was at. But overall, like I'm pretty minimalist. Like I'm a real, like honestly, I really want to be frugal. I just want peace. I don't really care about, materialistic stuff like that. I just want to have enough money to be able to take care of my responsibilities, support my family, grow my investments, you know, help me, fast forward kind of this coast fire journey. And I realized that um, if I hadn't gone and, really kind of like checked this like insecurity and, really kind of like addressed it, I would just be continuing on this path of just wasteful spending on stuff that doesn't actually bring me real pleasure, right? And this video is not to say that you can't spend money on things that are material, right? Everybody has things that they enjoy that they like, but I think the real call to action is how do you really be introspective and check to see, is this something that actually brings you value and brings you joy and is something that you care about, or is this something that is stemmed from an insecurity, right? And a lot of times you are going to make poor financial decisions when you are doing stuff worrying about, what other people think about you, trying to cover up insecurities, trying to heal your emotional wounds that you might have had as the younger version of you, developed by dressing it up with money and spending money now that you've had it, right? It's really easy, especially if you're a person that came not from having money. I by no means came from having money. Everything that I've developed, I'm first generation. I've had to work hard for, I've had to bust my ass for, and so it's really easy to kind of start spending money to make up for like lost times. And money really just amplifies a lot of the um insecurities that you have. I don't think it's changed me. I don't think money's changed me at all. I think what it's done is it's revealed who I am as a person, and I definitely have some insecurities, right? This isn't the only thing. I think there's other things that I could probably look into and evaluate and really question and think, why am I spending money in this area? Because in reality, like, I don't need much. Most humans don't need much. I think we need to scale back our lives. I think we need to be more disciplined with our finances. I think less is more in the sense of bringing you more peace. And that's what I'm chasing, especially as I'm getting older, especially as I have a wife now, I have a son. I'm thinking about the values I want to instill in him. I don't believe in, covering up insecurities by spending money to address it, right? I think that, people need to heal and people really need to be introspective to kind of let go of those things so that they can start spending money in areas of their life that brings them more value. For me, that's travel. For me, that's making experiences with my family. For me, that's building generational wealth. And when I say generational wealth, I mean setting up an investment accounts for my son, which I've talked about in a previous video. He's never going to pay for college. I want to help him pay for his first house. I want to help him buy his first car. I want to give him an inheritance. I want him to have so much money. And I'm doing that by taking the action of replacing the money that I would be using spot buying those stupid shoes and putting it in investment accounts that set him up. And that's kind of like my call to action. That's what I've done. So if you're watching this video, this is a sign. Be introspective. Look into your life to see, what are you wasting money on, right? Is the money that you're bringing in, is it actually bringing you real joy, or is it addressing and covering up emotional insecurities and things like that that you might have developed within your childhood? That's it for today's topic. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to continue to be dropping daily videos, just documenting my journey when it comes to personal finance, different things that I've been reflecting on and developing on to really grow as a person. All right, take care.